Hello and welcome back to the If You Roll It, They Will Come podcast with me, your host, Spartan Kratos. And it's been a minute since we've had just a straight up real story time here on this channel. And today I'm bringing another one of those classic stories back to the podcast. And this one happened very recently. This is going to be about my last weekend and what me and my friends did when we went down to Tucson to just hang out with some boys. Now, this was a large group of people that were meeting today, that we were all getting together with. But coming down from where I live at Arizona State and going to Tucson, you had Matt, Butters, Kenny, me, and Jim. So we were all heading down there. There was a basketball game going to be happening on Saturday between ASU and U of A. So we were heading down for that, and we headed down on Friday because Kenny has a friend, Carter, who they knew each other back in high school, and he goes to U of A. So we were going to be spending the night over at their apartment, hanging out with them, having a good old time. So we go, and this is about, just a 2-hour drive down there. So nothing really, we're just going to jump ahead to, we're at the apartment now. This is later Friday night. This is, around 8 p.m. And this is where the fun begins, because we were coming down, me and all of my, I brought the bong. So we had weed with us, and we had the bong. So me, Kenny, we all wanted to smoke. That was the plan. All big stoners here, we're all going to smoke, of course. Can't go without it. So when we get there, the first thing we do is, some of the guys, they start cracking open some beers, cracking open some seltzers. Matt, he starts digging into some of his drinks. And now the guys that we were meeting up there, it was JB, Dan, Carter, and Alan. I said Carter earlier. So those were all the guys. They were all there. And everyone's basically drinking besides, I would say, Butters, Kenny, me, and Alan. None of those guys were drinking. Everyone else, though, they were getting crossed. They were having some of the weed, and they were having some of the drinks. So first, 30 minutes, hour, we're all just settling in. Everyone's having, 1 or 2 drinks, taking it slow, enjoying the start of the night. And while this is all happening, we're all kind of catching up, because we had seen these guys before last semester. They came up to Tempe, so that's why we decided to go down to Tucson to see them. So we were all catching up with them. And as this is happening, Kenny is over there sitting on the couch, and he is preparing a cone. Now, this was a cone that was bigger than anything he had expected, because he went to the convenience store or the fucking corner store, and all he had asked for was cones. He just asked for raw cones. And the guy basically said, "No, here are zigzags." And I was standing behind him in line, and Kenny was just like, "What?" Okay, whatever, and just paid for the zigzags and left. And when we got in the car, we saw how big these cones were. These were 1.5 cones. These were big ass cones. And so Kenny took his time filling this cone. It took him a good 10-20 minutes. He was just sitting there slowly doing this, and I was getting kind of annoyed because I had brought the bong out, and I was just kind of sitting there waiting to get the tray and waiting to use it to get my bong ready and to light it up. And then he's just taking his grand old time loading up this cone, going grandma style, going so slow. But anyway, I digress. He gets this thing packed up, and we're all talking. We're like, hey, time to smoke it. So they have a balcony on their apartment. Thank God. This is something I was actually jealous of them of. Having a balcony is so nice when you smoke, because it's just a nice thing just to walk out in the morning and just light up a bowl, light up a joint. It's a nice thing to do, because that's what we all did on this night. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's about 9 guys standing out here on this balcony, or 8 guys, sorry, because Butters was not smoking today. So there's about 8 guys standing out there on this balcony, and we're just passing this joint around. And thank God it was that 1.5, because it was a bigger joint, so it was able to last a good amount of time in roto. I think it got passed around twice in roto before that thing was finally had to be tapped out. And of course, everyone else tapped out. So me and Jim were the 2 that did the honors of ending the joint. Yeah. But we go back inside. Everyone's buzzing now, right? We got some weed in our system. There's some alcohol in some of the guys. Everyone is buzzing. We're all at a good level. And now it starts rolling around 9 o'clock. And this is where things start getting a little interesting, because I take a few rips of the bong, and so does Kenny. We start kind of lighting up some of our weed and just taking small rips. And the other guys from U of A, they were really surprised by how much we could smoke. They could not believe the tolerance we had on us. And we're all just kind of joking around, fucking around, talking. And then up comes the idea of a hotbox. And then Dan just kind of tosses the idea out there. He's like, "Hey, guys, let's go hotbox my bathroom." And this just gets us all like, oh, like all of our ears are perked up. Me especially, because I've never done a hotbox. Like, that's something as a stoner I had never done before. And that is something I'd always wanted to do. Like, doing a successful hotbox is like a goal. It was like a lifelong dream of mine since becoming a stoner. So when this gets brought up, I'm definitely interested. I'm like, okay, we can make this work, maybe. I'm like, we could probably make this work. If we have some bowls prepared and we can get this in roto fast enough, we can definitely make this thing work. Because Dan didn't have a big bathroom. It was a pretty small one, so it was good enough and this was going to be all 9 of us, because Butters was going to join it. So all 9 of us were going to be able to fit in there. And so we go over into Dan's bathroom. And this is where the fun truly begins. Because, okay, at first he turns on the light and the fan are connected. So at first the light is on, and while I'm getting my shit set up on the sink countertop, because that's like my area, that's like my control room, right? This is what I have been waiting for, and I am in charge. So I have to be prepared, making bowls left, right, and center. I am basically I am the bud tender. I am the bud tender in this scenario. So, Dan decides to turn on the his shower for a little bit, because he wants to get the place a little bit steamy, add in and bring in up the hotbox effect, because he wanted to do that so it could help make the hotbox kind of start quicker. So it got a little steamy in here. Then he turned the shower off, and then we turned the light off because the light and fan were connected. So when that goes off, the bong comes out, and then I start ripping. And then I take take 2 rips, and then I pass that shit to Jim. Then Jim takes about 2 rips, and then who was standing next to him? And then I think he passes that shit to JB. JB takes a few rips, he passes that shit to Dan. When it gets to Dan, that's when we're flipping out bowls. I give him the other bowl, I take that bowl, I'm ashing it, and I'm starting to prepare another bowl, getting ready. And then Dan's taking his rip, and then he's passing the bong on to Alan. Alan took his rip, and then he's passing it on to Matt. Matt takes his rip, and then he's passing it on to Kenny. Kenny takes his rip, and he's passing it on to me. I take my rip, and this is going on and on and on. And then like the whole time, every time there's an out, every time one of the bowls is out, I'm flipping it. I'm giving here's a new bowl, give me that one. I'm ashing. Kenny was doing a good job of helping the other guys from U of A hit the bong, because none of them had really done it before. So he was the one, he would light it for them, and then he would take out the bowl when they would need to clear, and it was going pretty well. And this was getting really smoky. It was getting a very nice smoky air, because Butters was also in this, and he's just kind of standing there, and he's starting to get some of the side effects. Now this starts going along, and then as this goes on, people decide to start taking bigger and bigger rips. And this is where I start to see wow, some of these guys are really trying to keep up with me and Jim, because me and Jim the whole time are taking probably the fattest rips at the beginning. And then Dan starts to try to do some, and he does some fat ones. And then Alan, oh my god, this kid takes I have an 18-inch bong, right? So he fills the whole chamber down below and the whole neck of the bong, and then rips it all out in one inhale. He fucking cleared the whole chamber in one inhale, and I was absolutely stunned, because I was standing right in front of him, and there's a video of me. I don't know if I'm gonna put it up there because of all the other people in it, but there is a video of me where my jaw is absolutely dropped on the floor. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in front of me, because that kid, he's not like someone, he's like, these kids at U of A, they smoke, but they don't smoke like us. They're maybe going through a couple carts, like a cart maybe every couple of weeks. Us, we're going through fucking an ounce every couple of weeks, so it's really just 2 different levels here. So seeing Alan take that hit, it fucking surprised me, but he was out. He tapped out after that. He fucking dipped out of the hot box, and he was done. For the rest of the night, good night, Alan. He was in his room, out like a fucking light, just doing whatever he was doing while he was high. But then this thing goes to Matt. And Matt, he's been one of my good friends since coming to ASU. The past couple years, I've gotten to know him more and more, especially since I came to live over on this side of campus. We live closer together, and we've been hanging out a lot. And this is a guy where he smokes a little bit. He doesn't really smoke a lot, but every time he smokes, it's usually just getting crossed. And this is what he was crossed against tonight. And what I couldn't believe is he kept taking the absolute fattest ribs. And Matt's a big guy. Matt is a big guy. He's maybe like 6'3", maybe just 6'5". Like, he is tall. He is a tall motherfucker. So he's taking these absolute fat ribs and taking them like a champ. And he's just inhaling them one by one, like clearing the chamber every single time he lights up. And then we were like, and me and Jim just kept like cheering him on, hyping him up. And I was just like, bro, you got the smoker lungs in you. Like, you just have the genetic. Like, you could just tell, even though he doesn't smoke that often, like, he just had it in him the way he was just annihilating these bulls. But so this hotbox has been going on. Like, this goes on for maybe like 15-20 minutes, and it gets fucking smoky in there. And then we decide to turn the light on to see how everything's going. And when that light pops on, we just immediately see how smoky it is. And we could just see in the mirror, everyone's eyes are just bloodshot red. Like, everyone is so high. And like Butters was just standing there, not smoking at all, and his eyes were so red. Like, he was even saying like, oh, I'm high. Like, he was like some weird shit. Like he was acting high like the whole time we were in the hotbox, which is so funny because he just wasn't smoking at all. But it was a successful hotbox because we were able to get him high without him smoking, and it was just great. Like, I have a great album cover photo of me and Matt. I'm gonna throw that on the screen right here. This is one of my favorite photos of all time. It is just perfect exclamation point of this hotbox. This hotbox moment for me was a top 3 smoking moment for me. I've always wanted to do a hotbox, and to have it be successful, getting a guy who wasn't smoking during the road tow, but still getting him high, was really good. And it was just a great time. So then, after that, we decided to break the box. I'm like, boys, there's only about 3 people hitting this left. No one's really hitting it. I think it's time to end the box. You know, it was a great run, but I think it's time. So we decided to end the box, and we all head back out into the living room. We're bumping to some music. Everyone's vibing. And at this time, Kenny decides to put on some Smash Bros. On the TV. So that's when me, Kenny, and Jim start playing. And then later on, JB and Carter decided to join in on the fun too. So we're all chilling, we're vibing, we're playing some Smash Bros. And at this time, Dan decides to take a seltzer, or a beer, I think, and he's gonna shotgun it on the balcony. I don't really know how well this shotgun went. I heard he kind of made a little bit of a mess, but nevertheless, he still does that. And then he goes back and sits down over at the island at the counter. And I want to say for about the next 30 minutes to an hour, he was in manual breathing mode, and he was fighting demons. Because at one point, pizza was made by JB and Matt. They decided to make some of the pizza they had in the apartment, so they cooked it up, you know? And then when it was done, Matt called us all over, and we all came and grabbed a slice. And when I was eating my slice, this was like 30 minutes after we had started playing Smash, mind you. I was sitting across from Dan. I was sitting across from him at the island, and I could just see in his face, like, he was in manual breathing mode. He was not really having a great time right then, and he was absolutely fighting back demons. And then I see him slowly get up, and I just go, oh shit. And he just goes, like, some of it pops out initially, and then he makes it to the sink, and it's just over. He is throwing up everywhere, and it is pretty aggressive too. Like, the silence was loud. There was a loud silence that followed the first initial wave that hit him. And I felt really bad for the kid. I was like, oh no, like, we pushed him too hard. Like, fuck. And that was like the end of Dan. I got Dan a glass of water at, like, when he started, like, kind of when he started throwing up a little bit less and he could start drinking a little bit more. Gave him some water, and then the rest of the night he was just out in his room, and he was fighting back demons the rest of the night. You know, he was telling us, like, it didn't really stop for him after that. And I felt bad for the kid, but hey, there's always going to be a casualty in one of these parties, and that was the one casualty. Dan went down. The rest of the night, you know, was really chill. We went out at one point, got some Jack in the Box, because the Jack in the Box was down at the bottom of their apartment, ate it down there, came back up to the apartment, and watched the Joker. We were all pretty high. Like, no one really was drinking after that as much. No one really smoking after that as much. Everyone was on the good place. Everyone was starting to come down and having a really good time. We just watched the Joker, chilled out, went to bed, and that was night 1. That was just all of Friday night. And then we go into day 2. And then day 2, Saturday here, this is the day of the basketball game. And I'm just going to go long story short here. Me and Jim were trying to sneak into the game using the tickets that Kenny and Matt were going to use. They just sent screenshots after they used them to us. It didn't work. We just ended up buying tickets into the game, whatever. But then you have then you have the scenario where 5 ASU students are going and sitting in the U of A student section in a rivalry basketball game. And that was a great time because me and Kenny both had on yellow ASU shirts. So there was just like specks of yellow in the student section around crowds of red, the sea of red. And there's just these 2 dots of yellow. And like we were going so hype anytime ASU did anything. Like I hadn't watched an ASU basketball game this year up until that point. I knew we sucked. We ended up losing. But it was just fun because the first half we were winning and like me and Kenny were making people shut up around us because we were making it known that we were ASU fans. We were Sun Devil fans. And it was so funny. Just the way like we were getting Kenny actually got a water bottle thrown at him at one point. Kids were just trying to like these 2 kids behind us had these signs and they just kept rolling them up to try to shout in our ears and I was just like whatever. Like it's not gonna fucking phase me. Like it's 12-year-old shit. Like they were acting it was really funny because there was this a group of freshmen that were sitting right behind us and they were just acting so like childish and like they were trying to just kind of act cool in front of the other people they were with and it just kind of was not working. It was really funny to see people trying that hard. But anyway, basketball game was really fun. Me and Kenny were getting heckled the whole time. And then after the game, Matt, Butters, Kenny, Jim, and I, we all had to say peace to JB, Dan, Carter, and Alan. We were like, thanks for having us down, boys. It was a great time, but we gotta go head back up to where we live. We got the Royal Rumble tonight. Yes, there is still more to this. So we drive up. We stop at Cracker Barrel. This was my first time at Cracker Barrel. I didn't know there was a whole ass store inside Cracker Barrel. Like, that was really surprising to me. Like, I had always kind of, like, thought that, like, I don't know, because people always, like, wore Cracker Barrel merch and shit, so I didn't really know what it fully was, but I knew it was a restaurant. But, like, to see the size of the store that was there really surprised me. But we ate there. I just had bacon, mac, and cheese. I was not really that hungry. Like, we were on the road. I was just like, I want to eat quick and get on the road, like, get back out of there. It was not a quick eat. We were there for, like, an hour because our food took forever to come out of that kitchen, it felt like. But anyway, we get back on the road, and then we head back to our apartment, freshen up real quick, and then we're off to see the second group of people in the story. So, now, over here, we have... Ooh, I gotta give everyone names. Give me 1 second while I come up with names. Alright, so we're back. I got the names now. I got the names down for these people. And this is the same group. So this is at this apartment. This was Will and Shane's apartment. They've appeared in a few of my other older episodes, but they're back in this episode. So this was their apartment, and they're the only real 2 other guys that are going to get named here besides the other guys who are here, obviously, Matt, Kenny, and Jim, and I. Butters decided not to come to the Royal Rumble. That was not his vibe. So it's Will, Sean, Matt, Kenny, Jim, and I, and about 4 or 5 other guys at this apartment. And we're just all getting absolutely hammered watching the Royal Rumble. There are so many drinking games being played by Sean and Will because they absolutely love wrestling. Not really WWE, they're more AEW guys, but they do love wrestling. It's a very fun pastime of them. And I do enjoy watching it myself. Getting drunk and watching wrestling is very fun. And Royal Rumble is one of the best events. Even though it can be like kind of a letdown, it is still very fun to watch people occasionally come out and just be surprised by who comes out and what they do. And this was a good night. Like, it was a great time. You know, the fights weren't that great, but drinking and just having fun, talking with all these people, seeing them again. It had been a minute since I had seen Sean. So, like, just being able to hang out with all these people was really fun. And then the best part of the Royal Rumble was when motherfucking Randy Orton came out at 29. When his fucking theme song started playing, holy shit. It tore the house down. Just the start where it just goes, I hear voices in my head. Like, when that started playing, everyone, and I mean everyone in this apartment, jumped up from their seat and began screaming the lyrics at the top of their lungs and was just going absolutely insane. We couldn't believe that he was out there. Yes, he was eliminated fairly fast after coming on. We didn't care. It was just a great time to see Randy Orton back in the ring. And that was it. You know, the Royal Rumble ended. Brock Lesnar won, so he will be fighting we'll see probably Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That'll be, you know, a solid match. Didn't really need to see a Royal Rumble win for Lesnar to get that, but, you know, I digress. Hey, it was a good match. We had fun. And on the walk back, it was just Kenny, Jim and I on the walk back. And let me tell you, Jim was blacked out for this part. So he didn't really do anything too stupid, but he did tell us he didn't really remember the end of the rumble to us getting back to the apartment. So blacked out Jim decided to take a cone and throw it across the street and into the street. And then me and Kenny were basically just keeping him on a leash after that point, keeping him out of trouble as he just kept sprinting around and doing push-ups because he is a big active boy, big strong boy Jim. Grr. And then, that was kind of it for Saturday night. We got back to the apartment, and then we all just kind of chilled in the living room for a little bit and then went to bed. And then Sunday, Sunday was a bit more relaxing day, except for the morning. So the Bengals-Chiefs game was on Sunday, and that was interrupted because of a fire alarm. So that was fun. We had to stand outside for about 30 minutes because of a stupid fire alarm. Someone was probably smoking out in the hallway or smoked out their room. I don't know how they set off the fire alarm, but that did go off. So we did have to go stand outside for about 30 minutes. It was whatever. We just all kind of hung out and talked. It was just whatever. It was hot though. It was hot because I was in sweats and a sweatshirt. I was not prepared to go outside at that moment. And that was the Niners played. The Niners sadly did end up losing, which was very sad to the Rams. But even on a sadder note, and I'm gonna dedicate this episode to this one particular person. Can I get, if you watched all the way to this part of the video, I would really, really appreciate it if I can get an RIP, a Rip Caniac in the chat for him. Can I get a Rip Caniac for our boy? Buttersfish Caniac sadly passed away yesterday during the Niners game. Just as the Niners decided to choke away and lose that football game, Caniac decided to choke away and give up his life. So the Niners win as Caniac went, and as Caniac died, the Niners died. But I need everyone in the comment section to give me a big old Rip Caniac. That was a sad loss for Butters, a sad loss for us all. The first loss we have had in this apartment, and really in the friend group. So, we're all taking it big and hard. We're all taking it one step at a time, It's a very sad moment in all of our lives, but I'm sure we will all get through it stronger people. And that's the end of this episode of the If You Roll With They Will Come podcast. If you like what you guys see here, please like and subscribe and share this with your friends. If you think this is some of the content that they might like and they might want to watch, just go ahead and share it around, But that's all I have for you guys today. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.